So picture this. You're trying to do something really great for your body, right? You start your morning with a supposedly super healthy cup of green tea. But what if I told you that a simple, everyday mistake in your kitchen might be completely neutralizing all those amazing biological benefits before the tea even touches your lips? Yeah, you might be meticulously picking out the best, most expensive leaves, but you could literally be brewing away the good stuff without even realizing it.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're totally bypassing the trendy wellness fads and the shiny marketing jargon. Instead, we are digging straight into the hard biological science of green tea. We're going to figure out exactly what's happening on a microscopic level inside your cup. And more importantly, we'll break down the optimal, scientifically backed way to brew it so your body actually absorbs those coveted nutrients.
All right, here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll hit 1, the green tea difference, 2, the power of EGCG, 3, heart and brain impact, 4, brewing science, and wrap up with 5, myths and risks. Let's get to it.
Starting off with Section 1, the green tea difference, avoiding oxidation. Let's see what makes green tea so fundamentally different from everything else in your pantry. You know, it's a super common misconception that different types of teas come from entirely different plants. Actually, green tea and black tea come from the exact same plant, Camellia sinensis. The only difference really, comes down to the processing, specifically a chemical reaction called oxidation. When making black tea, the leaves get rolled and exposed to the air. They oxidize, which turns them dark brown and totally changes their chemical profile. But green tea, it deliberately skips that oxidation step. The fresh leaves are immediately heated, usually by steaming or pan firing. This quick heat completely deactivates the oxidation enzymes. It's brilliant, really, because it preserves that vibrant green color and, crucially, locks in a massive payload of natural antioxidants.
Moving right along to Section 2, the power of ECGC, the biological bodyguard. Let's meet the real star of the show.
We're talking about a super powerful class of antioxidants known as catechins. And when we look at the structure of one specific catechin, EGCG, or epigallocatacid-3 it's absolutely fascinating. Think of EGCG as your body's own personal biological bodyguard. See, our bodies naturally produce these things called reactive oxygen species, which basically cause cellular damage and drive oxidative stress. Well, EGCG steps in and completely disarms those reactive molecules. But it doesn't stop there. It actually goes a step further and activates our body's internal defense pathways, like the NRF2 signaling pathway. So it's basically training your cells to be better at protecting themselves from the inside out.
Okay, Section 3, heart and brain impact. Let's look at what these molecules mean for our most vital organs.
When it comes to your cardiovascular system, regular green tea consumption acts remarkably like a shield. We have extensive data from randomized trials and massive cohort studies consistently linking green tea to modest reductions in both LDL, the bad cholesterol, and total cholesterol. We also see it positively impacting both diastolic and systolic blood pressure. In fact, there was one massive cohort study looking at nearly 500,000 people, which is a huge sample size, and they found that regular tea drinking was modestly associated with a lower all-cause mortality risk, particularly from ischemic heart disease and stroke. Now, it's not a magic bullet, but it is a statistically significant, highly protective habit.
And then we have the brain. Take a look at the chemistry of this fascinating pair, caffeine and L-theanine. This is the dynamic duo of green tea. A typical cup has about 30 to 40 milligrams of caffeine, so way less than your coffee, providing a gentle lift. But the real magic happens because that caffeine is paired with the amino acid L-theanine. L-theanine actually triggers the release of GABA, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter, and it promotes dopamine release. This exact chemical synergy is what gives green tea its famous calm but alert feeling. You get the crisp focus from the caffeine, but it's smoothed out by the L-theanine. So, zero jitters and absolutely no afternoon crash.
But here is the absolutely crucial point. All of this amazing chemistry means literally nothing if you destroy it in the kitchen. Here is Section 4, brewing science, molecule to mug.
To actually extract maximum ECGC without ruining the tea, you have to follow these specific parameters. First up, never, ever use boiling water. You want fresh water heated to right around 175 to 185 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 80 to 85 degrees Celsius. Second, steep those leaves for exactly 2 to 3 minutes. Not 5, not 10, 2 to 3. Why are we being so strict about this? Well, if you drop a tea bag into boiling water, or you just leave it sitting in your mug forever, you trigger a chemical process called epimerization. And that literally alters the chemical structure of the ECGC. It converts it into a much less active form, while simultaneously dumping excessive amounts of tannins into your cup. And that right there is exactly what turns your beautifully delicate green tea into a harsh, bitter, astringent mess.
Now, once you've brewed it perfectly, there is a totally fascinating, scientifically validated citrus hack that you really need to know about. Adding a quick squeeze of lemon, or honestly any source of ascorbic acid like vitamin C, does something incredible. Catechins are notoriously unstable once they hit the harsh, highly acidic environment of your digestive tract. But the ascorbic acid steps in and acts like a preservative force field. It stabilizes those fragile catechins so they can actually survive the brutal journey through your gut.
And the impact of this hack is just massive. To put this in perspective, in digestion models, drinking plain green tea means less than 20% of your total catechins survive intact. Less than 20%. But when you add citrus juice or vitamin C, the recovery of certain catechins skyrockets to between 81 and 98%. You are literally quintupling the bioaccessibility of those antioxidants just by adding a tiny splash of lemon. It's a real game changer. On the flip side, there's one super popular addition you should absolutely avoid. Skip the milk. Dairy milk contains casein proteins, and research shows that these specific proteins will bind directly to the catechins you just worked so hard to carefully brew and protect. This protein binding drastically reduces the bioaccessibility of the antioxidants, effectively blunting the health benefits. So, if your goal is maximizing antioxidants, always drink it plain or with citrus. No milk allowed.
Let's ground this whole explainer with a final reality check in Section 5, Myths, Facts, and Risks. There is so much internet folklore surrounding green tea, and we need to separate the flashy wellness marketing from actual medical facts.
Okay, let's clear up a major myth right out of the gate. The idea that green tea detoxifies your body? That's mostly just marketing. Detoxify as a wellness buzzword doesn't actually mean anything in a strict medical sense. Your liver and your kidneys naturally handle your body's detoxification, and there is no beverage on earth that can substitute for that. Now, what green tea does do is provide antioxidants like ECGC, which are shown to support healthy liver enzyme activity. So it makes your liver's normal day-to-day processing slightly more efficient, but it absolutely doesn't magically flush toxins out of your body like a sponge.
Let's rapid fire through a few remaining reality checks. First, it is not a magic weight loss cure. Yes, it can mildly increase metabolism, but you are not shedding fat without a balanced diet and regular exercise. Second, remember those tannins we talked about earlier? They can actually bind to non-heme iron. That's the iron you get from plants. This makes that iron really hard for your body to absorb, which could pose a risk of anemia if you're drinking gallons of tea with your meals. Third, while a brewed cup of tea is incredibly safe, high-dose green tea extract pills, specifically the ones packing 800 milligrams or more of EGCG, have been linked to liver damage. So stick to the brewed stuff, please. And finally, yes, tea actually expires. If your loose leaf has been sitting in the back of your pantry for more than 6 months, just toss it out. The flavonoids degrade significantly over time, meaning you're essentially just drinking hot, vaguely flavored water at that point.
So we've covered a lot today. We dove into the microscopic biology of EGCG, explored the systemic cardiovascular impacts, and broke down the strict kitchen science of temperature and timing. So I leave you with this final thought. Now that you know the precise chemistry of how catechins degrade with boiling water and exactly how L-theanine works with your brain, how are you going to change your morning brew tomorrow? Are you going to finally drop that water temperature, maybe set a strict timer, or add that little squeeze of lemon? The science is entirely in your hands now to optimize your daily cup. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy brewing!